Invited Kylie Vogel to come up today. I'm going to talk with her a little bit. Now, Kylie is a senior at Twin Lakes High School, incoming senior, and she's the youngest daughter of Phil and Susie Vogel. And what are some of the things that you're involved in at school, Kylie?
Swimming, track, some clubs here and there.
Okay, so sounds like sports are a lot of the things that consume your time, although you're involved in some other things as well. Swimming is actually what I want to talk to you about today. Now, you've been swimming competitively how long?
10 years.
Okay, about 10 years. So you started when you were maybe going into second grade or something like that. So what's been your competitive swimming over the years? So how did you start out and how did that kind of progress?
When I was little, it was just a summer thing, and it was for fun, and you'd go to meets and have a blast. And then as I got older, it took a lot more time and got a lot harder.
Okay. So at this point, when you started, you said you were just in the summertime. Now, is it more than the summer? When do you compete?
Like the whole year.
The whole year. Okay. When did that start that you started competing year-round?
A few years, longer than that. Years ago.
Okay, so like going into middle school or?
Yeah,
okay.
probably.
Now, what are your favorite events or what are your strongest events?
The 50 free, 100 free, the short stuff.
Okay, so just like runners have people that are sprinters and those that do distance, sounds like you enjoy doing the shorter distances, although you got to go a lot faster on the shorter distances. You say 50, that would be 50 meters?
50 yards.
50 yards, okay. And that is 2 lengths of the pool, so you go down and back. For 50 and 100 would be 2 times down and back.
So
okay.
4 lengths.
Okay, 4 lengths, okay, that's it. You can tell I'm real versed in talking swimming here. But, and you went to the state finals meet this winter. What did you compete in there? How did that competition go?
I did the 1500 free, and I made it back to the second day, so that was good.
Okay, so it's a 2-day meet. You got to qualify in the first one to be able to continue.
Mm-hmm.
Now, had you ever been to the state meet before?
When I was a sophomore.
Okay, so I'm assuming you have aspirations of getting to go back there again this year. So, well, I'm assuming that the preparations you've done to compete maybe are a little bit different today than they were back when you were starting out as a second grader. How has that changed, your preparation for competitions?
It takes a lot more time than it did then. Like, I practice twice a day for 2 hours each, and so. Okay,
so this summer you're practicing twice a day. What time are those practices?
6 to 8 in the morning and 5 to 7 at night.
6 to 8 in the morning. So. Pastor Alec, that's about the time you're starting your day, isn't it? So, where are you swimming at 6 o'clock in the morning?
Lafayette.
Lafayette. So that means you've got to get up even earlier than Pastor Alex has to get up to be in the office by 6. So you've get up at 5 or so wow. So, and as you go 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours in the evening, what do you do during that time? Just lay on the side of the pool and kind of?
I wish, but no. You have to work really hard to get better. So. Okay.
So you're pretty much in the water all that time? Do you do weights and other things, or just
Not
in
really.
the water? Okay,
just a lot of swimming.
Lots of swimming, time in the water. So when in your earlier years you described it as fun. Now you describe it as work. Do you still have fun with?
Yeah.
Okay. So what makes it fun today?
I mean, the people that you're with and like getting better is fun.
Okay. So there's several others that train with you, and so that you're not in the pool all by yourself. It's a little easier to be motivated there. But how about motivation? What keeps you motivated? What makes you willing to go back to the pool, get up at 5 in the morning, day after day?
Getting better. I mean, you want to keep getting better, and that takes work. So.
Okay, so when you talk about working out 4 hours a day this summer, you're wanting to swim the 50 in half the time you did last year. I mean, when you talk about getting better, what are you talking about? what are you trying to do?
It's like less than a second.
Okay, so you're doing all this work to gain less than a second in the water. But that less than a second can be the difference between first place and maybe second or even fifth. It's amazing to watch how close some of those finishes are. I've heard of a father who told his son, who was an accomplished athlete, he said, your natural abilities and talents are God's gift to you. But what you do with those abilities and talents are your gift to God. And I would encourage you that as you work hard, I wish you good luck as you continue to compete. But would also encourage you that as you work hard, that you also do it in a way that is honors God, because as you use those gifts and talents that He's given you, that is your gift back to Him as you use them well. So, well, thank you for coming up and sharing with us a little bit this morning. I think that there are spiritual lessons that we can learn as well as we think about athletes and their training. As we listen to Kylie, it's obvious that growth, growth for her in swimming, even improving by hundredths or tenths of a second, takes a lot of work. So it is in our spiritual lives. Spiritual growth is something that we've got to work at, something that we need to make it an intentional investment. Spiritual growth takes an intentional investment in our lives. In the last few years, the Willow Creek Association in Chicago has been doing research with their own congregation and several other congregations as well about what does it mean for someone to be mature in their faith? What does it mean to live a Christ-centered life? And how do you get there? And one of the things that they found out in their research is that many people are of the attitude, well, it's the church's job to feed me. Well, and yes, it is. It is the church's job to challenge, to give you, spiritual food, to help you grow in your spiritual walk. But it's not just the church's responsibility. We've also got to take some responsibility in investing in our spiritual walk. Now, Grant and Hannah, I didn't warn you. I don't mean to put you too much on the spot, but I just did. So Ellis is how old now? A month old. Well, now Ellis is pretty much dependent upon you for everything right now, I would guess. And that's what we expect with babies. Now, when Ellis gets to be 5 or 6 years old, if you're still feeding him at the table, other than maybe putting his food on his plate, if he doesn't have some independence there, you're going to be a little concerned. Now, if Ellis gets to be a high schooler and you're still feeding Ellis, we're going to have some concern at that point that something's just not right. As a parent, it's an issue that we want to help our kids to be independent, to be self-starters, to be lifelong learners. We want to make an investment in them, but they've also got to make an investment. They've got to gain some independence and be able to be a self-starter. It's the same way with our spiritual walk. It's an issue that it's not just coming to church and being spoon-fed, and whatever you get when you're at church is enough to care for, to make you spiritually healthy. It's an issue that you've got to make some investment, in growing in your spiritual walk and even your spiritual independence. This summer we're doing a sermon series that we're calling "How Then Shall We Live?" In the face of the challenges of life on a day-to-day basis, with the pressures and demands, how do we need to live as followers of Christ? And we've been using Dr. David Jeremiah's book, Living with Confidence in a Chaotic World, as a guide to several of the topics that we're looking at. Dr. Jeremiah says that we need to be diligent. We need to continue to seek to move forward and grow and mature in our faith.